It is 14th of August 2024, and I'm seat 12 in Maastricht, the Netherlands. And we have two interesting guests from France, Monika and Emmanuel Coton. They are food microbiologists, but they are specialized in fungi. So I like to start with Emmanuel. Emmanuel, tell me, where are you coming from? Why are you now a microbiologist, particularly in food?
Thanks, Rob, first. So we worked in Brittany, in Brest, in the western part of France, and I started my career as a wine microbiologist, and then I went to South Africa, and then to Canada, and for now many years I'm in Brittany, and I've always been fascinated by fermented food. And among the fermented foods, fungi that are yeast or molds are really important. And although I worked first on bacteria, I fell in love with fungi and especially with those associated with cheese that are Penicillium camemberti and my favorite being Penicillium roqueforti. Okay. So that's where we're coming from and that's what we are doing.
At the moment, you're the director of this. Can you tell me a little bit more about the center?
So I'm the head of a lab called LUBEM that's working on biodiversity and microbiology. So we look at fungi in crops, but also in food and also environmental. As we are close to the ocean, we work a lot also on marine fungi, as they can have more enzymatic properties and maybe a special metabolite that can be of interest. But as for Monika and I, we work really a lot on cheese, but also dry cure meat and also wine that is for either technological or contaminant or sometimes pathogenic fungi. So the team is, we are about 50 people. One team works on sporulated bacteria, and we are about 10, and the rest works on molds. And we have 15 at the moment, 15 PhD students and 3 postdocs.
Okay, where did you find this beautiful lady?
I met my wife, that is also my colleague, in Canada during my second postdoc, where I was at the Wine Institute, the Cool Climate Wine Institute in Ontario. And she was in the lab next door, and will since then continue to work as both researchers in food microbiology and for the last 15 years as food mycologist.
Yeah. So you were also working in microbiology, not in mycology, or were you already starting with working with fungi?
So no, when I first started actually my studies, I was in biotechnology and rather microbiology. And that was what I was doing in Canada. And then after we met, then I decided, why not continue my studies? So I went to France, and that's when I did my master's and especially my PhD. And so I chose to do it on a fermented beverage, so it was cider, and to understand the role of especially spoilage microorganisms in cider. And then after that, I was lucky and got to continue working as a research engineer in a research center for about 10 years, and during that time I was able to explore all kinds of fermented foods and look at eukaryotes and prokaryotes and the positive impact of these different microorganisms in these different fermented foods. And then I started at the University of Brest, so where we're working now, and that's why I really started working on mycology and all these fascinating molds. And it was just, I think the first time in the lab, it was working on blue cheese. That was my very first project. And I started isolating these Penicillium roqueforti strains, and it was just looking at the diversity. It was like incredible. And just like the aspects that you could see on the petri dishes, the different blues, the different shades of blues and green. And it was just incredible. And I thought, wow, these are like amazing microorganisms. And I think that's really what started the desire to really go further and really understand what these molds are doing in foods.
What I always see when you present your papers, you can already discover that you're so enthusiastic about fungi. Yeah. And I think this is always so nice because this is, in many fields you have a presentation and somebody is presenting the research and you see, oh yeah, these are data. But you present data, but you also present that you love the fungi.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that that's often what we tell a student that, especially when they go to continue as PhD student, it's not a regular job. If you don't have passion and enthusiasm for what you're doing, there's no point. You will lack the energy, the motor to finish your work. So it's, I think, the job we're doing, you have to have passion. And those microorganisms are so special, they do so many things, and they produce, we are really interested also in metabolites, so, and they produce a variety of metabolites, so it's always a novelty. It's never boring, and that's what I think we also like about the job, the fact that it's always, there's novelty, you're never bored.
You're constantly learning, and the whole aspect of it with metabolites, like some of these metabolites have such a positive impact even for us as consumers with the food products, and then at the same time you have food safety risks. At the same time it might be, I don't know, enzymes that are going to alter the product, and so there's just such a wide diversity of these metabolites that you can go and explore, and I think that's like so exciting. And so even me, I just love going into the lab and even like working on extracting them and trying to identify them. I find that just so exciting, and so it's one of the big themes I really like working on in the lab.
Yeah, I see that your work is very industrial related.
Yeah.
You have many. Can you tell me a little bit? What is the role of this industry? Are they helping you? Of course, they sponsor you and so on. Don't you have sometimes discussion? You don't want to go that direction because you are a scientist. Is that difficult or not?
No, I don't think it's really difficult, because obviously they support us, especially the dairy branch and the French dairy branch, but a lot of companies also are interested, and in France we have a system where they can have PhD students that are paid by the state and are paid by companies. So that's pretty interesting. So obviously there's sometimes confidentiality aspect,
of course,
but
yeah.
most of the time I think things go really well, and they know we have a scientific part that has to be published, and they are really aware of that. Otherwise we say no, there's no point if everything is confidential. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's also another motor for us. I think it's that our work has purpose, and so as we are in a lab, we are paid by taxpayers. It's important that it goes back to the public and also to the economy of the country or of the world. So it's also why we like working on applied subject, I think, you and I.
Yeah.
We had several people to be interviewed, and I was just speaking with Christina Varese, and she is so happy that there's a good collaboration in their country, in her country. What about the collaboration of the French microbiologists? Is that very good? Is it easy? Because sometimes, you know, in some countries they protect the research. Yeah. In the Netherlands, for example, we always share, we like to collaborate, and you know our...
Collaboration is really important.
It's very important. That's why I'm asking.
It's very important.
And
that's how you move forward.
And I think it's part of our DNA to be in the collaboration. You say at the national level, we work a lot with our colleagues in Paris. We are Jean Ropars and Tatiana Giraud in particular, who are more working on genomes, and we are working a lot more on phenotypes and metabolites. So it's a real complementarity. But also we enjoy collaborating with people from different countries. Yeah. And Monika can tell you she was for a few months in Denmark with Jens Christoph.
Denmark is also good.
So we always like to collaborate with different cultures, different point of view, and we think it's enriching.
Yeah. So in the last year you really get a very good network, particularly also in Europe, isn't it? Where you can really go there and change there and so on. And I know you are also organizing Spoiler. Tell me something about Spoiler.
Yeah. So Food Spoilers is actually a symposium that is usually every 4 years, but with the COVID it was a bit postponed. But there's a next event end of June of 2025, and it's about microbial spoilers. So obviously there's fungi. There's not only fungi, but there's also lactic acid bacteria, propionic bacteria, there's spore-related bacteria, but also a big part are molds. And you were mentioning collaboration. I think also something that was really important for Monika and I is the ICFM, and we are really happy to be members of the International Commission on Food Mycology, because it also opened our horizon to different people, both from the work point of view, but also a really human relationship point of view, and we really appreciate that, and thank you for that also, for you. Thank you, Rob, for that.
Yeah, so at the moment you have many students, I guess.
Yeah, we have 15 PhD students.
15?
15, yeah. And for a small team, we are about 50, so 3 postdocs, and we have every year, like I would say, like 6 or 7 master students. So yeah, that allows us to tackle different issues from the field to the agri-food industry.
Yeah. Monika, you're French-Canadian?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Well, I'm Canadian first and also French.
No, but originally you're French-Canadian.
No.
Canadian.
Canadian.
Yeah,
Ontario.
and from Ontario, so
Ontario.
the English-speaking area.
But
of
your
Canada.
your French is, of course, almost your second native language.
Now, yeah.
So how is it living as a Canadian in France?
I think that both countries are fantastic. They both offer great things, and so I'm very happy to live in France because it's a fantastic health system. You know, when it comes to work, I mean, fantastic positions at the university, good support for research, and
So
just the daily lifestyle is wonderful.
So you're not sorry that you married this guy?
Don't say during the interview.
Yeah, well, we will fix it. Yeah.
No, I have the best of both worlds because we get to go on vacation for long stays because we have quite a bit of vacation in France and live a nice lifestyle in France.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'm very extremely happy that we met many years ago, and that you are included in my network. I was invited in Spoiler. I think it was 6 years ago already.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic meeting. So I would really say to people, take this if you are in food microbiology, so not only in mycology, go to this meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for this interview.
Thank you so
Rob.
much, Robert.